Okay, so now we're going to continue in loops. This is what computers do well, is they do the same thing over and over. So we want to go over here in cell A1, and we want to count from A1 to A, or just from 1 to 10 in these respective cells. So we're going to make some code that does that with a loop, so we don't actually have to do it one at a time. So again, get another button, and we're going to call this one button count 10 and say new. And again, this is in the small grids one. It kind of chooses where it wants it to go. We want it in the loops one. Whoops, that's not the loops. And so we're going to count down here underneath where we've done that one, and we're going to say button count to 10. And it doesn't hurt to just put in here what this is. So this goes with the button count to 10 in loops worksheet. Just a comment. And so here we're going to say for I equals 1 to 10 cells. Again, I is the row. It shows right here, row index, column index. And like I said, when we're doing it this way in cells, row A is actually row 1. And we're going to say it equals I, and then we have to have this next in here. It's not lining up for me for some reason. There. And next tells it to go on to the next one. That's all we need in there. So save it. Always save in between in case your computer, there's something so wrong in the code that it crashes and you don't lose that code. And if we click on button 2, you'll see it counts from 1 to 10. So let's rename this text on here and say count 1 to 10. Now that's what I want it to do, but I'm just going to show you some things in the code, so don't make these changes. But that it automatically increments by 1 unless I say something like step 5. So now when we come back, and let's clear it and click on this, and it actually jumped from 1 to 1. It stepped 5. 1 plus 5 is 6. And it only did it twice. Excuse me, I had to sneeze. It only did it twice because once it was 6, it added 5, it was 11, and it jumped out of this loop. So if we wanted to actually count by 5s but do it 10 times, we could do something like this and say dim, and stop might be a reserved word, so I'm going to say dim stop point as integer, and stop point equals 10. And so sorry, I had to think about that for a little bit. We're going to do this totally different. So we're going to say display num as integer, whoops, and display num, can't seem to type, equals, and let's start with 5 and count by 5. So now we're not going to do this step 5 because we don't want it to get through there. We want to do it 10 times. And we're going to say cell I1 equals display num. And then down here we're going to say display num equals display num plus 5. So now when we do it this way, we're going to do it 10 times, and we're going to count by 5. So again, save it, come over here, clear this, and click on this, and we do go from 5 to 50. So like I said, you don't have to add all that in there. I'll take that back out so that it matches what I asked you to do. But there are a lot of options in there. One I showed you stepping different amount, and here I said we could do something totally different. So we want to put that back to how I asked you to do it. And now we're ready to go on to nested loops. And in this one, we're going to have it display over here 1 through 10, and then I'm going to have it go A, B, C, A. Whoops, that was on one row. A, B, C, A, B, C. Okay? that's what we want to do. So we're going to insert one more button, draw it down here, and we're going to say button nested loops, where I already have it created, I guess, and then say OK. So now we'll go to Visual Basic, and I evidently already created that in here. Yes, there it is. Pull it up here so you can see it, make it larger. So here you'll see that I said the current column is 6, and that's in column F. And so then we're going to go through. So this part right here is where we'd actually do the 1 to 10. But here's where we're going to do the letters, and then we're going to increase that letter by 1 and do the character for that one, and then we have to reset it back to A inside each loop. So if we now come back to here, save this again, come back to here, and click on this, and you'll see that I do 1 to 10 in column F and ABC, ABC, one row at a time. So I'm just going to resize these and make that nicer, and we'll just actually edit the text on this one and say nested loops. Now I've highlighted this part in here, which is where that nested loop is, and I've hit this button to comment it out. So you'll see that's a good way to code things to check for errors. And so now this is what we had before. The cells equal the current row and current column equals 6. That really doesn't matter because we're not changing anything in here. So now when I come in here and I clear it and I click it, I'm again just getting that 1 through 10, which is what we had before. So here's where we assign that letter A, and then we say, if we just have this one, current column equals the A, well, if we do this, we're going to get it in the first one, but it's going to get kind of ugly. I'm not real sure what's going to happen. But now when we clear it again and we click it, yes, we just get the A's. Yes, that makes sense because we didn't say for 1 to 3. So it's constantly A, and then we're incrementing that letter, but we come back here and set it back to A. If I commented this one out and now do this, and it's still not in a nested loop, then you'll see, again, clear it so you can see, oh, now it's unhappy. So I did something that it didn't like. Let me see. When this happens and you get this yellow in here, you need to click on this to kill it. So we said the current column plus 1 gets the letter. Oh, it doesn't know what letter started out as. Letter is made up here, so we'd have to say up here outside of the loop. And so now let's see what that does. And so now, yes, that's exactly what I thought it would do. It would keep going from adding A to J. So we didn't want it to do that, so we go back and put that code back how we had it started. This is it wasn't initialized, so it didn't know what to do. So now if we uncomment all this back out, so I highlight all of it and just hit this to uncomment, it really does get us back where we wanted to display those loops. So if you would please turn this in for the first time to coding first time, I want to make sure that these buttons work for you, that you understand these loops. So save that and turn that in. Thank you.